Well, what is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. It has been a few weeks. I was sick. I had COVID. I was very sick for a couple of days and then moderately sick for a few days after that. And then I was in quarantine to protect my family and the people that I love. Now I am clear. The quarantine is over and I am back. And a couple of really interesting things showed up while I was in quarantine, which we will get to over the next few releases. But I wanted to start here. This is a Kickstarter knife. This is the Alien Knives DX2. And it is spectacular. It really is. First, it's big. It is entirely my kind of knife, as you can see. It is a real handful, and yet it is very lean. So it doesn't, well, it does chew up a lot of pocket real estate this way, and it has, well, to be fair, a monster pocket pecker on it. But the action, because of this large flipper, is just fantastic. I say it's big. Let's take a look at really what we're talking about here. Let's get some basic dimensions out of the way. The blade itself is 1, 2, 3 3/4 inches of cutting on just at 3 3/4 overall. The grip area from behind the flipper is 1, 2, 3, 4 1/4, almost 4.5 inches. The overall knife from end to end, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a little over 8.5 inches long. It is a full-size knife. Now, in the closed profile, it eats up about 2 inches, and including the flipper tab, a little more than 2 inches. So it takes up some pocket real estate, but it's totally worth it. This is an S35 VN blade. It is beautifully stonewashed, has a beautiful little swedge across the top, and it is hollow ground. So it comes down to a really nice cutting edge. Since I have been out of quarantine, I have used this thing to do all the things I always do. Boxes, which is cardboard, paper for fun, some paracord that I have laying around, some seatbelt material that I keep on hand just for this sort of thing. This is a monstrously good slicer. A little pocket lint in there. Now, I happen to go with the carbon fiber variant, although out there are some G10 variants as well. It is all titanium. It is a frame lock, as you can see, and we're running at just about 45% lockup. It is a nice lockup. No wiggle, no rock, no nothing. Straight from the factory. The pocket clip is very nice. It is milled titanium with just enough ramp, as you can see there, and good spring, right? So it fits in and out of the pocket very, very well. It's just a joy to use. So let's do some size comparisons while we've got it on the table so you guys know what we're talking about. First is the Ritter Hogue. Many of you may know this is the full-size Griptilian, but this, of course, is the Hogue variant. As you can see, it is considerably larger than a full-size grip, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue. Here it is against the Presidio by Benchmade. Now, this is one of my favorite full-size knives, and as you can see, it is bigger than the Presidio. It's not longer, but man, it's just a beefier knife. This is a great pocket knife, by the way. And here it is against the Mini Presidio 2. The Mini, of course, is a little tiny bit bigger than the Bug Out, a little heavier, but overall dimensions are very similar. So if you know what the Bug Out is and looks like, you'll know this knife as well. And as you can see, it just dwarfs the Mini Presidio 2. I love Kickstarter because it allows knife designers who don't have access to the big knife companies to still bring their materials, their art, their designs out to the rest of us. So far, my experience with Kickstarter has been very, very good, and this is a classic and excellent example of why you guys should be paying attention to Kickstarter. I saw a couple of the prototypes for this on other channels. I know that Metal Complex had one, and it just looked right. It looked really well done, and so I took the shot and jumped on board, and I am 100% thrilled that I did. Now, I don't know what the availability of these is at this time. I don't know if because the Kickstarter's over, these are gone, or I don't know if he has more available on his Alien Knives website. If I find some when this video goes live, I will post a link in the description. If not, keep your eye out on the secondary market. Often when people get onto these things, some people may not love it. I don't understand why that would be the case, but some may not, and so you may be able to find one that way. But the real lesson, the story and the lesson here is that you should pay attention to places like Kickstarter because fantastic stuff like this just appears. And it really is worth your time, energy, and, of course, money. This is just a great working knife. It was one of the few real smiles I got when I was in quarantine because this thing showed up and I cracked the box open. My lovely wife threw it into the bedroom where I was quarantining, said, "Here, something to entertain yourself with." And I was like, "Oh, what is this?" And then I opened the box and oh my God, just thrilled from the first snap. Let's go ahead and do some other dimensions just so we know what we're talking about. Let's get a weight out of the way first. Moving my mat around. I am out of practice. I'll get back to it, of course. Now, I did have some people ask me to do grams as well, so we're going to start with ounces. It is 5.3 ounces, which, you know, for the almost 4-inch blade and the overall size of this thing is not surprising. 148 grams. So it's a full-size knife. Please don't pretend that it isn't. You will be unhappy if you buy this hoping that it is a very lightweight, you know, small carry. It isn't, but I like big knives. You guys know that. That's pretty much the theme of the channel. And this thing, it is fantastic. All right, let's do blade stock. Now it is 3mm blade stock, which is why at the end of this really nice high hollow grind, it comes down to an absolute razor blade. It is just a joy. Now, I've used this enough over the last couple of days on some materials to tell you that there is no rolling or chipping. You know, even though it is very thin along the edge, I've had no issues with this at all maintaining its edge. This is still the factory edge, and I'll tell you, it'll cut you. It really, really will. Now, I mentioned it was thin. Through the handle itself, we are at 11.28 millimeters, which works out to be under ½ an inch, right? So it is very lean this way, which means that even though it is chewing up a couple of inches of pocket space, you're not going to want to carry anything else in your front pocket with it. It doesn't bulge out, and it sits very comfortably in the pocket. I love that sound. So anyway, that is what we have here. This is the Alien Knives DX2. Now, I happen to know, because the guy that runs the company is super nice, that there is a mini version of this coming out, slightly different design, similar blade, similar everything, but a slightly different design overall that will meet this right where it lives in the same, well, it's going to look very similar, but there are some design changes coming that are very good. It'll have a 3-inch blade and a slightly shorter handle. That is going to be amazing for those of you that like more mid-sized knives. Women Carry Knives is really looking forward to that. And so there we are. This is the Alien Knives DX2. It brought me joy when I was in my quarantine. I hope very much that it has brought you some happiness getting a look at it today. If there are some of these available, I will post a link in the description where you might find them. And if not, just keep your eyes open to the various used and secondary market sources that you trust. I assure you some of them will pop up. That happens from time to time. Thank you so much for watching. I have been a Therapeutic Edge. This has been the Alien Knives DX2. It is wonderful to be back. We'll see you guys next time. Take care now.